Hello dear students of O-Level English 1123 appearing in 2025 May June exam. First of all, please share your feedback. How was your writing paper? And after a few days now you have your reading paper. So I just wanted to share some important exam tips and important things that you need to remember at these last hours, ending hours before your exam. Now you have just few days left as I uploaded my video and talked to you about your writing paper just a day before exam. So I thought that this time I should share with you some important exam tips few days before your reading paper. So your reading paper, you have total 3 questions, very simple: question 1, question 2 and question 3. In question 1, the 16 mark section, you have some short questions where you need to give very short brief responses. Those comprehension questions based on text A are related to explicit and implicit meaning type questions. Try to be very brief. Do not add any extra information. Sometimes adding some extra phrase can negate your correct answer, so you will lose marks. So do not add any extra thing. Also on exam day, time will pass so quickly, so you don't have any extra time to spend. There will be some questions that will be so simple based on simple information in the text, in the narrative text. Some of them will ask you to use your own words. In those questions, try to be very careful, not lifting from the text, not using any word or phrase from the text, but to convert it into your own words. Some questions will have 1 mark, some will have 2 mark, and some components of question 1 will have 3 marks. There will also be a question, like if you see in the past paper and the specimen paper, we had a question related to writers' feelings and attitudes. It can be about the writer's different feelings and attitudes, or it can be about like any feeling or attitude of any of the character, because text A will of course be narrative text, so be careful. In feelings and attitude question, just try to have a quick look and revise your vocabulary to describe the particular feelings and attitudes of characters or the writers, because once you have identified like how a character is feeling at a certain point of the story, you need good vocabulary for feeling as well, like is he feeling pleasant or sad or whatsoever. There is very beautiful vocabulary that I have shared with you in another video. You can watch that quickly to revise, because that question carries 3 marks. That is quite important. The other thing can be in this first question number 1, 16 mark section, there can be some questions that require combining information technique, where you cannot find answer in a single line, in a single paragraph even. You need to find the feelings of a character from the different points of the story. There can be other questions as well that might be asking you to bring information from the different sections of the text. How to attempt this section? So basically you have two sections. In section A you have 2 questions, so divide your time, distribute time equally, and keep margin for all sections of your paper. And an exam day, time will pass so quickly and you cannot like count the minutes, so you should have a good practice before the exam. Still you have few days left, so try practicing and solving the past papers. Now so first you should read the text or the question. This is a commonly asked, frequently asked questions by many of my students. So first you should have a quick reading of the text. It also depends on how sharpened is your skill for reading, how quickly you can skim and scan the text, how well you can understand the question rubric itself. So the sign off or the key words of the question, to understand them and to understand the reading text is a key skill that you need to excel well in your reading paper. So first try to have a quick reading of the reading text, what we call skimming, to have an overview of the text. Then read the question, it will be more effective. While reading each question, scan the text to find the particular answer. Sometimes students get a mistake in understanding the question wording well. So you should focus equally on understanding the question wording and understanding the words of the text. Then comes question number 2. So okay, in question number 1, when you have feeling question, you have to describe the feeling using feeling vocabulary. Then also it asks you to bring some details from the text. There you can either use the text wording or you can use your own words to give, but actually accurately the same thing that shows that particular feeling. So the vocabulary file for feeling that I shared with you, I also added example sentences from narrative text, like what type of feelings are found in what expressions. Then comes question number 2, where you have 9 mark section and short questions are there to assess your ability, how well you can analyze the language of a text and its effect, that we call writer's use of language section. In this section, avoid using too general statements and phrases like writer is using catchy wording, writer wants to engage the reader, writer is just using a metaphor, simile without explaining its effect. It is of no use. There are no marks for identifying the language device that is being used, although you need to explore and to explain the effect of what the words the writer has used at a particular place in the text. In the questions, you will be either given one word or phrase or even a whole paragraph or few sentences, and you will be asked to identify something or what effect the writer is trying to create on the reader by using certain words. So the purpose is not just to name the device that is being used, but to explain its effect. But to explore its effect, you need to know how to identify it. First of all, focus on the literal meaning of those words that you are exploring in the text. Then see their connotations or association, their shades and strengths of meaning, and also see if there is any literary device that has been used. But to name that is not enough. You need to explain its effect well. Giving too general statement, you will not get the good marks. You need to explain the effects. Try to be more specific. For practice, just study. You have a quick look at unit number 3 of Cambridge endorsed book by Helen Toner and Helen Rees, co-authored by and the third author as well is there. So just go through the third unit of that book. And the things that you need to remind of yourself is that try to be very brief in answering all the questions in your reading paper and avoid using any extra phrase or expression. Do not give too general statements. There are 2 words, try to understand them in your writer use of language section. The one is expression, the other is impression. The expression are the words and choices made by the writer, or the language choices made by the writer, and impression is what the reader gets in his mind after reading those words. So what ideas the reader will get by reading those words, how those choices of words will affect the reader's perception about that text and what he will get through it. You have to explain the effect. So what expression the writer has chosen to express some thoughts, feelings, emotions, what you want to. There can also be some emotive word that you can focus on, the emotive use of language to evoke emotions and feelings in the reader's mind. There can be literary devices. There can be symbolism is also something important. There can be symbols to represent something else. You can analyze them in writer's use of language question. Also see the sample response released by Cambridge, because Cambridge has issued October-November 2024 exam series, example response and examiners comment on them. So the sample response by the candidates and the examiners comment, and also now available the responses, the answers of specimen paper 2024 issued by Cambridge, available on School Hub website. You can have an access to it through the Cambridge teachers. Now comes the last question, number 3, that is summary writing task with a short response question. Summary writing task is 20 marks and 5 marks are there for the short response. Summary writing task and short response, in total 25 marks. These questions A and B components both are based on text B. Text B is not going to be narrative text, it's a factual text of around 500 words. For summary writing, you need to first understand what things you need to summarize. Just focus on the question very carefully, what you actually need to summarize. Then read the text very carefully. You can highlight or annotate the text, underline the key phrases, the points that are very relevant to the question being asked. Then make a list in your mind. Then you need to create a sequence of those points, how you will make in summary. Don't make them like abrupt beginning and ending in the paragraphs and the points. Your text in the summary should be coherent. Use linking words and phrases. Make it a coherent piece of text itself. It's not like bullet points notes, that like just catching the points and putting them randomly in your summary will be a wrong way to attempt your answer. You have marks for content and you have marks for quality of language. And your marks actually that are there for the content are based on how well you can understand the text, because where will you get your content from? Of course, by reading the text, it means you are getting your content, you are extracting your content from reading text B. So summary writing task assess your both skills, reading and writing. So how well you understood the text and how well do you write the text. Okay, and then the last the short response question is there. Answering the short response question, for example, when they are saying, suppose you are the head of a travel company and you put your clients in danger, so what else you can do to rescue them in such cases? You will not bring points by your own. Of course, this is based on reading text B. So your responses, of course, you will create, but they must be based on the content points given in the reading text B, because it's a part of your reading paper and the reading assessment objectives are there. How well you could understand the text and how you can use the factual information from a text, how well you can evaluate it, and how well you can use it for a specific purpose by reading a text. So to secure good grades, try to be to the point, understand the question well, read the text well, and try to be quick. Keep extra time margin with you. Wish you very best of luck for summary writing and lighter use of language, these two sections specifically. Have a quick look at the activities and content point in Cambridge Endorsed book by Helen Turner and Helen Rees, unit number 3 and unit number 4. So see the third edition of the Cambridge Endorsed course book. Also see the past papers and their sample responses. If you don't have any content and material, feel free to reach us and I will try to provide you all the stuff and material